Hey guys, welcome back. We are continuing on with Please Be Happy.
Ooh,
Um,
I needed that break. Back to it.
I don't know who that character is, but okay. Alright, so as promised, we will now go to the library and, make off with their stuff, I guess. When the moon is high in the sky, I decide it's time. This is the perfect kind of night for me. There's not much wind, meaning I'll be able to hear or smell anyone approaching. It's a little cloudy too, which gives me some cover from the moonlight. I make my way back up to the library, stopping as soon as I'm within sight of it. Find a shadowy place to hide, and watch the front for a few minutes. Like I hoped, nobody goes in or out. All of the windows are dark too. I slowly creep up towards the entrance, ready to transform and flee if I have to. Nothing happens. No one tries to stop me. I peek into one of the windows. It's dark inside and I can't see anyone at all. Perfect. I move around to the back side of the building and check those windows too. Same thing. It's dark and empty.
This is gonna be too easy.
Back at the front door, I pick the lock and slip inside. I sneak from room to room, revisiting the items I memorized yesterday. They're not expensive or fancy enough to think of them as treasures. I end up leaving a lot of them alone, since I don't want to carry too much with me. The rest go into my coat pockets. Finally, I end up back at the painting in the corner, the piece that started this whole plan. I have to set a couple things down on the floor because the painting needed both hands for me to lift it. It's heavier than it looks, but it's not very big. It's probably a good sign of how much it'll be worth. I have to jiggle it a couple of times to get it off the hook, but I manage. Tucking the painting under one arm, I pick up the other goods from the floor. It should be enough for one night. Best to get in and out quick. I start to head back for the front door where I came in. Before I get there, light floods the room. My heart starts to race as I immediately prepare to run. A quick glance over my shoulder shows the woman from last night standing at the top of the stairs. Her eyes are glowing blue with anger. She takes a step forward, not seeming to touch the stairs.
Leave that painting alone!
I've got to get out of here. Now! Throwing caution to the wind, I clutch my spoils tight and charge for the door, trying to make myself as small a target as possible. The painting is too big for me to transform and still hold on to it, so I've got to do this on two legs.
Stop! Please!
I don't stop. Just like my arrival here, with the guards at the skyport, the thrill of being chased has already taken over. It's exciting and scary at the same time, but either way, it spurs me to move faster. Using my shoulder, I crash out the front door and into the night. I run as quickly as I can, keeping an eye out for patches of slick mud or puddles of water. The path I take goes far past Mount Victoria and my den, ending up in a small residential area. I stash the painting under a parked car and then take my fox form and crawl under a house, upsetting a mean gray cat who was already hiding there. It makes a low growling sound, and I glare at it, desperately willing it to be silent before it gives away my position. I growl back as best as I can, and that seems to scare it into shutting up. I'm not sure if I was being followed or not, but I don't want to take any chances. After 10 minutes or so, I climb out, pick up my loot, and sneak back towards my den. Now that the excitement has worn off, I just can't keep a smile off my face. There's nothing more satisfying than pulling off a heist, even one as easy as this. Other thieves I've heard about must have it rough, having to stake out a place for a long time, trying really hard to not get caught, and making sure not to be seen. I've never done much planning. I just do whatever feels right. My ability to transform makes it pretty hard to catch me. Although I have had to leave behind the stuff I was taking once or twice. And honestly, it would get boring if I never got caught and had to run. My good mood lasts me all the way home, and then disappears completely when I see who's waiting for me. The woman in white. She stands just outside my den, looking like she doesn't care at all about the cold or the mud. In fact, her perfect clothes don't seem to get dirty at all. With her back turned to me, she's staring up at the moon, but she faces me as I approach. She has the same calm presence as when I first saw her, but I can see a mournful look in her eyes, which have gone back to brown instead of furious blue. My heart quickens, almost suffocatingly, as she watches me intently. I know how quickly calm can turn into anger. I should run, but can't look away.
How did you find me here? Before I even got back?
A friend of mine told me you might be found here.
Her voice is soft and warm, unlike the way she shouted back at the library.
A friend.
But who? I wasn't followed, I'm sure of that much. With the shock of being found wearing off, the realization I'll need to find a new place to stay sets in. After all that work, too.
I apologize for showing up uninvited. I'm here to ask that you please return that painting to me. You may keep the frame if you'd like, but the painting itself is very dear to me.
I look down at the portrait. I've been carrying it for a while now, but I haven't given the picture itself much thought. It's a beautiful painting, and clearly very old. The girl shown in it is wearing a long, flowing dress, looking down with a small smile.
And also,
She breathes out slowly, and my eyes narrow. It's the sound people make when they're acting calm but they're angry.
should you want it, I have an extra room available in my library, with a soft bed and a warm meal. You may stay as long as you wish.
Huh?
After I just try to rob her, she's offering me a place to stay? Okay, now I know this must be a trap. There's no way. Although, if it's the same thing she asked me last night before I broke in, I'm sure she doesn't remember that.
Why?
Because I have more beds than I could possibly fill and more food than I could eat. If there is someone who wants or needs them, is it not appropriate to share these with them?
Is it?
I'm not sure what answer she wants to hear. She looks at me again, the same expression as it was at the library. Well, her offer does sound kind of tempting.
I guess it's not like my place is as nice as yours.
Mio, just take the offer. It'll be okay, probably. Not anymore, at least. Not after it rained and made half of it mud. I looked down at the painting again. If I sold it, it was just going to be so I could buy the same things she's offering me. I still don't trust her. I've watched people enough to know better than that. There must be something she wants. I don't think she wants to hurt me. She knows I don't have anything worth stealing. If she did try to pull something, I could just run away. It's only one night. I can come back and try again, or find some place else to take it from. I look down to the burrow, past where she's standing. Oopsie. Sorry about that. It looks less like a den, and more a pile of mud. The thought of sleeping there again practically makes the decision for me.
Fine, I'll take it.
Don't sound so dejected, man. She breathes out slowly again and smiles. Maybe that sound doesn't mean she's angry?
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, I should introduce myself properly. My name is Juliet. May I ask what yours is?
Miho.
I've had to introduce myself twice in a day now. That has to be a new record.
Well, Miho, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Let's return to the library. I can carry the painting if you'd like, or you may hold on to it until we get there.
I shrug.
Here, feel free.
She receives it very gently, and I quickly fall in beside her as we begin to walk back. To my relief, she doesn't try to make any conversation. Instead, she silently cradles the painting as we go. When we get back to the library, the lights are off, and the door is still unlocked. After setting the painting down on the desk, Juliet gestures towards the stairs.
It's on the second floor.
I follow her lead again, until she stops at one of the closed doors. She unlocks it and lets me in. The room is simple and cozy, with a couple of dressers, a table, and a bed. Over the bed, there's a boxy window of a wide sill, big enough to sit on. Ooh, I love those. Too bad I'm probably a little too big for that one, judging by the bed. I'm like, pretty tall, you know. On the table, there's a cheese sandwich and a few apple slices, plus some sort of cake. There's also a pitcher of water.
I hope the food is to your liking. 2 rooms down the hall from here, you'll find a refrigerator, and you may help yourself to anything in there.
Did you prep this before we got here? Thanks.
My study is just past that. If you need anything, don't hesitate to come find me. Is there anything more I can bring for you?
I shake my head, still in disbelief. What am I even supposed to say in a situation like this? I just stole from her, and now I have both a bed and food in return. As if to answer my confusion, she gives a calm smile. It doesn't help.
Then I'll leave you to it. We can speak again in the morning. Good night, Miho.
The door shuts behind her, and I expect to hear Juliet lock it, but when I try the knob after giving her a few moments, the door opens quietly into the dark hall. Juliet's nowhere to be seen. I pull the door back shut behind me and inspect the room, looking for any hidden threats. I also check the food, sniffing it to make sure there's no poison or anything. There is. I can't smell it. So I dig in instead. And so I dig in instead.
Whoa. This is really good.
The cake probably, but it's just a cheese sandwich, right? Like a grilled cheese, but it's not even grilled. There's 3 different kinds of cheese in a sandwich, which is 2 more kinds than I knew existed. The bread is soft and buttery, and when I take a bite of the apple, juice rolls down my chin. The water that I wash it down with tastes better than the water from the stream by my den. When I'm done eating, I climb into bed, still feeling overwhelmed. More specifically, not knowing how to feel. Yo, listen, you're making it very difficult for me not to want to give you head pats and food. Part of me fears that I've made some gigantic mistake, and that I'll wake up in danger, if I ever wake up at all. Trusting my instincts has kept me alive on multiple occasions, and for hundreds of years. Even that, enough that I've lost count of exactly how many. But something tells me I don't have anything to fear from that woman, who I can just assume is my host and the owner of this place. So with that in mind, I pull the blankets up to my chin and adjust the luxurious pillows beneath my head. Who knows? Maybe the morning will bring trouble with it. But right now, just sleeping sounds alright. I wake up to the sound of birds chirping loudly outside. Blinking weirdly, I prop myself up and look towards the warm sunlight beaming through the window. The sheets under my hands feel soft and dry. My hand goes to my neck, taking in the smooth familiarity of my necklace.
It's still here.
If someone was going to rob me, it's the only thing I have that would seem valuable. I sit up and look around. Doesn't look like anyone came in while I was asleep. Maybe I really am safe here. I wonder if Juliet's friend was the scent I noticed outside my den on the first morning. I don't know how else she could have found me, or how they did it without waking me up. If it's happened before, it could happen again, as much as I hate to admit it. So I check around the room very thoroughly, but still don't notice anything different from when I went to bed.
Maybe it's not a trick.
All my past experiences have told me that there has to be a catch. Nothing is free. Nothing. But no matter how hard I try, I can't figure out what it could be. Could Juliet really have been telling the truth? It just seems so unlikely. It'd be nice if it were true. But if it wasn't, if I let myself believe, only to be wrong in the end, that would hurt even more, wouldn't it? No, better to not even take the risk. After all, I've lived a lot of years this way, and it's not like I hate it. Making my mind up helps me feel better right away too. It just makes more sense. Even if I tried to stay, I don't think I'd ever stop worrying. This way, I know for sure that I'm in charge of my own destiny. Now that I know this room is unoccupied, I might be able to sneak back in sometimes when I need a place to stay. It wouldn't be too hard to climb one of the trees, and then get to the window from there. I take one last look around. For just a night, it was a nice what if. Then I head downstairs and out the door, without speaking a word to anyone. Listen. On a fundamental level, that's not the right mindset, you know? Sadly, humans, we have to trust each other. We have to, try to assume the other person is not out to get us. Maybe that's naive of me to think. I don't know. But I think it's better to live life that way instead of distrusting everyone you come across. Of course, that's not to say you should trust everyone. Just, it's a rectangle square situation, you know? It's another nice day. The same as when I first arrived in Wellington. Warm sun and blue skies, with just a hint of clouds. For a while, I meander around town, eating the last of my pastries from the convenience store hall for breakfast. Today feels like another restart. I have no den, no supplies, no anything. It's less exciting now than it was when I first arrived. I don't have a destination in mind, but eventually end up at the waterfront. There's an airship over the bay, ascending closer towards the skyport. A couple kids down on the beach wave up at it, seeming excited. The people arriving on that ship all have somewhere that they are planning to go when they get off, huh? We've all got people waiting to see them. What have I got? Some trash and an old scroll? So far, Wellington's given me nothing but questions. It never bothered me before, in any of the other cities I've been to. So why now? Yeah, guess that's another question for the pile. I push myself off the railing and head back into town. I go through the motions of scouting for somewhere to rebuild my den, but my heart really isn't in it. After wandering for a while, I end up at the Bell House yet again. It's just the place I go when I have nowhere else to go. There are more customers than usual, but there are two people working behind the counter. It only takes a brief glance to notice that one of them is Aspen. Aspen. I wonder if she'll think I'd like a fairy kiss chiller again. I want to call it like a fairy chiller kiss, and I don't know why. Or maybe I'll make a different sort of first impression today. The line moves pretty quickly. It helps that Aspen doesn't spill anything this time. When it's my turn to order, I step up to the counter with a fake smile.
Oh, hello. What can I make for you today? I'll have a fairy kiss chiller, please. Certainly. Good choice.
I reach for my wallet to pay, but she stops me.
Oh, don't worry about that. It's on the house today. Great! What does that mean? It means that you don't have to pay for it. As an apology for yesterday.
Ooh, there we go. People remember her. Yesterday? Why does that sound so strange? I nearly miss her talking, my mind having tripped over the word. She reaches for a cup, the pen already in her hand.
And that's for Miho, right? For Miho?
That's you. My name? She remembers my name? My heart begins to race wildly, my body reacting just as strongly as my mind. Aspen frowns, clearly noticing that something's off. My head's in too much of a daze to deal with it, though.
It is Miho, right?
She checks the notebook on the counter, brow furrowing, oh my god, words. Brow furrowing deeply as her finger slowly moves down the page and taps on one of the lines. What do I say? How do I explain? That for the first time in my life, for the first time in hundreds of years, somebody's remembered my name? It's not supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be forgotten. Every time. Without fail. It's my armor. It's my life. I take a step backwards. I have to run. I have to get out of here. I have to get away. But where to? I've just been running. And I don't have anywhere else to run to. I don't have any other choice. Without a plan or destination, I turn my heel and bolt outside, not daring to look back. Everything is wrong. I have to go.
Miho!
She calls my name again as I disappear into the street. It's not the first time I've heard that as I fled. But never like this. Never with such a confused, worried tone. Feeling sick to my stomach, I push myself to run even faster. Maybe I should just leave this whole city. Get on the next ship out of here and act like it never happened. I could go somewhere else, back to China or America or anywhere, and start over again. Within days, it'd be like I'd never came to Wellington. My life would go back to normal, and eventually, I'm sure Aspen and Juliet would forget me, just like they're supposed to. Nothing would be different. Except that's not quite true. I wouldn't forget what happened here, even if everyone else did. No matter what, I'm sure I won't ever be able to get these past few days out of my mind. When I get to Mount Victoria, I finally stop running. Not because this place is special or because I wanted to come here, but because I don't know where else I'd go. I make my way up to the top of the mountain, just like I did on my first day. The view, which I admired so much last time, doesn't do much for me now. Instead, the city looks cluttered and confused from up here. My chest hurts from running so long. I'm much more used to quick bursts of sprinting to get away from something or someone. I guess that's still what I'm trying to do now. But I'm not too sure what it is that I'm running from. Oopsie. I wanted to pause to talk for a minute, you know? Yeah, I mean, when you've lived your whole life like that, hundreds, mind you, hundreds of years like this, it's terrifying when, you know, your anonymity gets destroyed like that. Because Miho's kind of living a life where, like, it's the internet, but in person. You speak to somebody, you can have that interaction, but bam, next day, that interaction is your memory, and that's it. There's no repercussions, right? So that's terrifying for her. Whenever something goes wrong, my first instinct is to flee. Aspen remembering me definitely counts as something wrong. But when I stop to think about why, some of the reasons are obvious. Mostly, what if it's just not what if it's not just Aspen? What if everybody can remember me now? Or even worse, what if people who forgot about me a long time ago start to remember me? Both could get me in a lot of trouble. My days as a thief would probably be over. There are some places where I could never show my face again. The smart thing to do is to leave. And even see a couple of airships at the skyport right now. I have everything with me. I could just go. There's nothing keeping me here. I make my way up to the top of the mountain, just like I did my first day. And yet, I don't move. I still don't even know what it is I'd be running away from. From Aspen? From Wellington? When I think about it, I have to admit that running wouldn't get me anywhere. This worry, these questions, would follow me wherever I go, no matter how far, and no matter how long. So then, what do I do? The only answer I can think of is the scariest one. The one that goes against everything I've ever learned. Closing my eyes, I picture the library and Juliet's offer. I picture Aspen, who I barely know, but who's already changed my life. Maybe I should stay and try to find out more. Maybe, just maybe, being remembered might not be all that bad. I clench my fists so tightly, my knuckles turn white. The urge to turn tail and head for the skyport is so strong, it's almost like a magnet pulling me there. I resist it though. Slowly, I walk back down the mountain, making my way to the library. I'm not sure what to say when I get there. Explain everything to Juliet, and hope she'll let me stay in that room again? I don't even need the room. I could just rebuild my den and hide out there. Maybe in a new spot, one that Juliet doesn't know about. Not having to worry about the weather or the other animals would be nice though. There's no telling if Juliet will remember me too. If not, it might be easier to pretend this is my first time visiting and just ask if there's anywhere I could stay. Even though I'm not moving very fast, I still don't feel ready for this conversation by the time I reach the library's entrance. It's only been an hour or so since I left the Bell House, so it's not late enough for the library to be closed. The usual stream of people flows in and out of the doors.
Okay, I can do this.
Yeah, Miho, you got this. I stand off to the side of the entrance, preparing myself as people pass to and fro. My heart is racing the same way it does during a tense break-in. Maybe even harder. My tail twitches back and forth. Usually I don't notice, but right now, I'm super aware of everything about myself. Fighting off my instincts, I opened the door and let myself inside. I'd been expecting to have to look for Juliet, but instead she's right by the entrance. What surprises me most, however, is the woman leaning over the large desk beside her, Aspen, who's now engaged in conversation with a look of deep concern on her face.
She wasn't there when I checked the bedroom. I wish she would have spoken to me first, at least.
I barely catch the end of Juliet's sentence. She notices me only moments after I spot her, and for a second her mouth forms a perfect O of a surprise.
Juliet? What are you...
Aspen turns around to follow Juliet's gaze, her eyes opening wide at the sight of me.
Miho!
My brain goes blank, rehearsed lines flying out of my head.
Hey there.
Girl, I don't even know what to do with you at this point. God, I slink over to where they're standing, hands in my pockets, unsure what I should say first.
It's nice to see you again, Miho. I was hoping that you'd return.
Me too. That was pretty sudden. I worked extra hard on that drink for you, you know.
I freeze up, looking for the words. Aspen's expression softens in concern. Holy crap, Aspen's really tall.
Miho?
Alright, the drink. I'm sorry.
Well, I ended up drinking it myself, so I suppose I can't complain too much.
She laughs, and I can't stop myself from blurting out my next words.
You seem different.
I'm sorry?
Like, less polite?
Well, I'm not at work anymore, am I?
What am I even saying? What was I planning on saying again? Yeah, that's, me too, kid. Like, kid, I say as she's like hundreds of years older than me. You like meet someone outside of work or whatever, right? You know each other, but like not really. It's like, what do I say?
Will you be staying for a while, Miho? If so, we can continue this conversation in the dining room. It's a bit more private there.
Juliet takes charge of the conversation effortlessly, and I accidentally sigh in relief.
Yeah, sure. That sounds great. I'm not gonna run away again.
I'm glad to hear that. Right this way, then.
Juliet leads the way down the hall and into one of the locked rooms. We enter a cozy little room with a table and a few chairs, as well as a fridge. The three of us sit down, although I move my chair so I'm not so close to the others.
Can I get you anything to eat or drink, Miho?
I shake my head. I'm hungry. I'm way too nervous to eat. Yeah, actually recently, I had to go visit some family that I am not very familiar with, like at all. And, Asian families, they're like, oh, you gotta eat, like, for basically everything. Oh, you're feeling sick? You better eat. Oh, you're feeling happy? It's time to eat. Oh, you're feeling sad? It's time to eat. So they were like pushing a ton of food on me, and I was like, I can't eat. I'm way too nervous. So Juliet smiles in response to my answer, which came just a little too quickly to sound natural. By the way, both she and Aspen are looking at me, and I can tell they're expecting me to say something first. None of the words that I planned are coming back to me. What do people even say in situations like this? My temptation to run away is overwhelming. The door is just a few feet behind me. My knuckles whiten as I tightly clench my fist in my lap, pushing myself to resist the urge. I told myself that if I'm going to take this chance, even if it's the hardest thing I've ever done, I'm going to be honest with them. takes serious courage, you know? Whenever, even if it's something that seems silly, if it's hard to you, right? It's doing it is of course going to be hard. It's your personal circumstances. I say as if I'm a fucking therapist, which I'm not.
Well,
Ooh, is she gonna word vomit? I think she's gonna word vomit. I struggle to think of what to say. Juliet waits patiently, her eyes gazing coolly in my direction more than directly at mine. Aspen soon grows restless, however, her expression clouded with concern.
sorry. I don't know how to just say things. I've only ever copied other people's, so
Aspen's expression clears up in some sort of understanding.
It's okay, Miho. Take your time.
So I don't really know how to talk like this.
You're doing just fine.
If you say so. It's not just talking either. I don't know much about anything. Well, anything human. All I really know about is being a fox. And all we foxes care about is how to survive. It might be hard to believe, but I'm not a normal fox either. There's something kinda special about me. Kinda different.
I finger the beads around my neck. Their constant warmth and presence is reassuring. I avoid looking at either Aspen or Juliet's face. What else?
Usually, I have to steal to get by. I don't just have to, I like to. I'm good at it too. That's how I ended up meeting Juliet. And the reason I'm so good at it is because I don't know why it happens, but ever since I got my human form, everyone forgets me. Even the people who catch me stealing from them. After a day or two, I can walk right past their face and they wouldn't even recognize me. No one has ever recognized me. Until Aspen remembered who I was at the Bell House. It was such a shock that I ran away. That's what I always do. I was thinking about leaving Wellington forever, even though I just arrived a couple days ago. I'm still kind of tempted. But instead, I came back here. And that's it.
Just hearing the words coming out of my mouth makes me want to die of embarrassment. It makes me uncomfortable when other people think about me. And yet, putting everything out there feels surprisingly good. Yeah, of course it does, Mio. It feels like a weight has come off my shoulders. There's no going back now, and that's a relief in its own way.
So you're saying that you've never ever had a family? Or a friend?
Nope, never. And not since I stopped being a regular fox, at least.
Oh. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Why?
Well, because that's... not to be rude, but that sounds rather lonely to me.
Lonely, huh? I've never thought about it before.
I see.
Aspen sits back, still looking concerned. From the way she keeps fidgeting, I get the impression she wants to say more, but is holding back. Juliet swoops in to salvage the situation. Hold up. I think I'm actually missing... Okay, no, it just takes some extra clicks, I don't know why.
You have been very brave to stay here, Miho. I'm personally glad that you decided to come back to the library. I had your room prepared in hopes that you would. You're welcome to use it for as long as you'd like. I think that we could become great friends.
Friends.
I roll the word around in my mind, as if it were a strange food I'm gingerly trying. Is that a word that fits me? Is that something I could have? It's never seemed like a possibility before. None of what Juliet's offered me has. Right now, it feels like I'm standing at the end of one path and the beginning of another. I could turn around and go back the way I came, back to the den, a life spent alone. I know that world. I've lived in it for so many years. But I can't just go back. Not now. Not when there's something more, something new. Everything could be different if I just let it. When I look at Aspen and Juliet, I can tell what they're I can tell what they're hoping I'll say.
I think I like that.
Big smiles take over both of their faces. Slowly, I let myself smile too.
Well then, Miho. Welcome home.
No. Yeah. Chapter 2. A Life Worth Living. And that's can I say it right here? Yeah. That's where I'm gonna call it, folks. I know we're getting deep into it now, you know, chapter 2, all that. But you guys are gonna have to join me next time. Once again, thank you all for watching.